Welcome to Jefferson Liberty Radio, the voice of the State of Jefferson in the Central Valley. I'm Matthew, joined by Pat. Pat, you're back.
I'm back. Thanks.
And John is here as well.
Yes, good evening.
Hi, John.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
This episode of Jefferson Liberty Radio is sponsored by AL Certified Safe and Lock. AL's offers locksmithing services and alarm systems for a range of applications, including burglary, fire, tamper, medical emergencies, and much more. AL's has been locally owned and managed in Modesto for nearly 70 years, and with thousands of loyal and satisfied customers, you can be sure AL's will not only meet, but exceed your needs. For more information, call 1-800-700-4780 or go to alsalarm.com. That's ALSALARM.com. Thank you so much to AL's Certified Safe and Lock for sponsoring this episode of Jefferson Liberty Radio. Pat.
Well, tonight we have Amy Bublak, who is the mayor of Turlock, California. She was elected on November 6, 2018 to a 4-year term. I'm so excited. I'm really glad you are the mayor, Miss.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's get started here. I shouldn't show my bias, but I guess I just did, huh?
Yes, you did.
So anyway, do you want to just kind of give an introduction to yourself? What your plans are, where you're going, what has been happening since you've become mayor? Just go right ahead. Go ahead,
Sure.
Amy.
Okay. So I'll kind of give you the things I was touching upon as I was knocking on everybody's door, and then we can kind of go from there. So,
Great. Good.
With regard of our water, the surface treatment plant that has been discussed a lot, I put it on hold and asked that, wait, let's find out what the final numbers are.
Okay.
From all the bids, and then let's look at all the feasibility here. So at the same time as that's happening, we went back out. We're having staff and everyone try and check in with all the other county areas, pockets that should need water as well. The governor and the president have both indicated that is one of their high priorities. So we're thinking, okay, let's get some funding and let's get everybody back on track here. If everybody needs it, why isn't everybody at the table with us? Because Turlock can't do this by themselves or with series, because it's just too expensive. And my feeling has always been, we're not going to put it on the backs of the ratepayer, and primarily because we're a bigger city, it would be Turlock. I want to make sure that everybody's at the table when we make the commitment, so we don't have to put that rate so high. I totally understand and appreciate that we need a safe, clean drinking water, but I don't know that it could be just as cost efficient to tap into MID. So at the same time as everything else is happening, I've asked them to look into that just to see where we're at. What makes sense? If not everyone around with the disadvantaged communities within our outer lining area don't want to come to the table and be a part of it, I don't know what else we can do. So I have to look at every possibility. Since being elected, I went in up to DC on my dime. And I met with Josh Harder. Most people weren't around because it was closed. But I told John, hey, I need your wallet and access to all of your colleagues' wallets for this SRWA plant. And so he said he understands and he's going to try and help us as best he can. And so we're hoping that it's gonna get more education and more people at the table. I just don't see it as being a regional and only Turlock and Ceres. I really want us to focus a little bit more heavily on Hillmark, Houston, Keys, Denair. They're all going to need it eventually. They might as well come to the table now while the governor and the president are talking about it.
Right, absolutely.
So in regard to roads, I have recently found that some of our funding was sent elsewhere for the ACE train. So I'm trying to find out how that happened and how we can get it back, because I think it's more important for our residential roads to be done, as that's what the point of the measures and the sales, the gas tax were for. But what we did do, and I'm very, very glad to tell you that my colleagues and I just recently had a trench encroachment ordinance. And what essentially happens now is, so any utility company, to include even our water company, if we impact the asphalt. If we take and have to put a hole into our roadway, then it will be from the curb to the center of the entire roadway, all lanes of traffic on one flow. So if it's two lanes, one way to the other, it'll be those two full lanes and 10 feet wide. So no longer are we going to have where if you're driving, and I'm sure you've all seen it, it's like you're driving on a quilt of asphalt where it's all different dimensions and you're just kind of popping up and down on both sides, ruining your suspension, etc. So to plan for the future, this is kind of one of those really big things that'll be great. It's not going to help fix the road today, but it will be a solution in the future. So I'm really, really happy about that. But let me see what else.
I'm really happy about that too.
Well, and that saves us all maintenance expense on our vehicles. I mean,
right.
Not only
these roads are terrible.
Not only that, it makes the road last longer once
right.
you repair it correctly instead of the patchwork that you're talking about. That ends up costing us more money in the long run to maintain the roads.
I agree. The 3x3 was just kind of a weird concept, and then if for some reason whatever utility company is going to put a hole on each side of the road, then they're going curb to curb all the way across and still at 10 feet wide. So it's going to make a difference. It's going to make it better. It's just not going to fix the roads that we have now. So we have to start looking at it from that standpoint. What else do we have?
What else?
Go ahead.
The, one thing that I was really hoping for you to go into, and this actually was, I was hoping we could end with this, but I'll go ahead and interject this right now.
Yeah.
was that great, your Amy's Turlock Business Partnership Incentive Program that you started in 2011. I really like that program.
Yeah.
I'd like to know how it's going and how many people you have who have taken you up on that.
Thank you for saying that. It was one of those things that just came perfect timing when people were coming back from war. They needed a job, so they want to start a business, and they didn't want to have any more debt than what they were already putting into the location that they were going to be in. So what we did is we decided that we would help them. They'd get a free business plan, and then upon them opening up, we would give just a nominal $1,000 to them to use for marketing or any supplies, things of that nature, just not fees. And so we've had 59 businesses, and 2 haven't made it. But from it's been like more than 60 full-time jobs, and probably somewhere in the neighborhood, I think about 36 part-time jobs have come from it. So it's actually been very helpful, and it's filled a lot of the vacant storefronts all over the city. My biggest deal was we're not going to do this for just downtown. It has to be for all of Turlock if we're going to do it. So it's been hugely successful. We haven't used much recently. I don't know if there's any funding allocated for it right now. But one of the things I started doing is I do Marketing Monday. And so I personally just go out by myself or with a friend and just live feed where people are hiring or they're having an anniversary for their business or something special. And it doesn't matter what type of a business. If they want me to come out, I'll do it.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It's really fun. I get to interact and find out what's going on in our community. I get to showcase our community. So I just love economic development. I love our community. So it works out really well.
Good. Well, your enthusiasm sure shows, and that's what we need. That's what Turlock needs. I guess I'm not a Turlockian, but I guess
you still have time. You can move here.
I can. I can. John, did you have anything you wanted to bring up that you wanted to ask Amy?
Fox Grove surface water project. Kind of curious where we're at with the financial situation in Turlock. You have trouble there.
We're having a terrible time. Yeah, so it's a $3.8 million deficit spending, and 3.1 of that is ongoing, meaning it's your salary and benefits. So we have about probably a little high, $6.5 million reserve, And so essentially we're looking at 2 years and we should be bankrupt at this point.
Wow.
So not a great time to get into office.
No.
And, it won't help to say, I told you so, or blame anybody. We're at where we're at, and we have to really, figure out what's the services that we're going to provide and just figure out what we're going to do from there.
Mm-hmm. Well, and most of us here on this podcast, and I know you're aware, we have ideas about a state split and forming a new state out of the state of California.
Right.
Do you think that would be beneficial to Turlock in the sense that it would allow you to renegotiate contracts with the union, or is there some renegotiation steps that we could enter into now to combat the unfunded liabilities that you're facing in an ongoing capacity?
Sure. Actually, that would help, and or if we were to even do some form of regionalization, because what's essentially happening is that the county, the bigger city, Modesto, and then the second largest in Turlock, we are just playing a war of who can offer more. And then it's like, okay, you're up, your turn again. And so we're just hiking this up. If everybody were making the same, we'd be able to control it a little better.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is that other cities probably pay less or more, or other regions, maybe I should say, pay. And you're not just talking about the surrounding cities. You're talking about the Bay Area. I'm a little confused.
So for regionalization sake, it would be if everybody in Stanislaus County were on the same public safety. That would make it so that we wouldn't have to chase each other's extras as far as salary or benefits. It would be, everybody would be getting the same. So you wouldn't have people trying to, oh, wait, gosh, I can go get $5 more over there. I think I'll take the up there. And then the next city comes up and says, oh, okay, we'll give you a raise. And then people are running around after that almighty dollar. If everybody in the county were making the same amount, we'd have a better chance, and it would probably help with the pool of candidates. People knew, okay, I want to live in Stanislaus County, I want to work in Stanislaus County, then I know what I'm making.
Okay.
Right. So I kind of clarify this for our listeners. I understand your background as a Richmond City police officer, retired. Most
Correct.
people may not understand that. So what you're saying is basically like the Carpenters Union or the Lathers Union would do. Regionalize the pay scale in the area where it's not such a draw from Turlock to Ceres, or difference from Ceres to Modesto, vice versa, that all of our public sector employees in the region or the county, let's use Stanislaus County because us in Jefferson are pro-county governance. So let's use Stanislaus County as our local in a unionized setting in that explanation. So you're for that local county having a set salary for a police officer, for a firefighter, for a landscaper at the park, so to speak.
It would definitely help us. I'd love to have the dialogue and find out where everybody else is. It just seems to me that if we keep chasing the almighty dollar, we're going to have a sense of failure, and at the rate of on the back of the taxpayer. We haven't even discussed our PERS deficit, the unfunded mandate that we'll face in 2 years, which is like $75 million. And, I will confess to having a couple of years ago, we decided we were going to pay down some of the PERS debt because it made sense. And so I was like, yeah, that's great. What I didn't realize was we didn't sock it away somewhere for PERS. We put it right back into the general fund, all as we're making cost savings, and spent it on other stuff. So we're still where we are. We didn't help ourselves at all.
So you're talking about the tax revenue that you got for PERS didn't it, and that would be probably California, you mean, or was that regional as well? Was that money not used for PERS?
So for our
confused.
PERS, for our retirement,
right,
we pay into it, and we were trying like you would with a debit card or a credit card. You want to pay down so that you're actually saving money as opposed to just building up a debt. So we didn't, as we were thinking about it, okay, we put money into it. Never did I realize that we weren't trying to start putting money into the PERS retirement again, because the state's going to keep coming back after the municipalities, because it's the easiest way to get their money back.
Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, So
we even
go ahead.
So we had our attorney, right? So for over a year, we didn't have a city attorney, and we didn't have a contract.
Oh yeah,
and we
please go into that. Yeah, I want to hear about that.
Money. Yeah, we spent so much money basically on a billable hour because we didn't have a contract, and so we finally, just in the last meeting 2 weeks ago, tomorrow, we voted in a firm, which is Churchwell and White, and Doug White will be our city attorney and his firm. So it's actually cost efficient to do this, and I'm pretty excited because we were spending so much money, and it made no sense. Everybody was using them as if it were free.
Well, weren't they charging you an hourly rate every time someone used him?
Yeah.
You were charged. Yeah, I remember that from our last meeting,
yeah.
And I was just dumbfounded at that. That just doesn't make sense. That did not make sense at that moment. It still doesn't make sense, huh? So
it does not.
No, it doesn't. So you are establishing a customer service center for residents to report results.
Correct.
Yeah. Would you like to go into that?
I'm still working on it. I've been speaking with students. I'll finish up with them at the university on the 1st or 2nd of April. Mm-hmm. And I've spoken at a lot of groups, Rotary Exchange, and even at Covenant Village, trying to get all ages of people who are willing to do some volunteer time and come in, just go to a class, and then be able to work on a regular basis a few hours, so that when somebody comes in to the city hall, they immediately have somebody there that can help them get where they need to be so that they can move on with their day and not be frustrated. You walk in, and I tell you, almost every time I walk into City Hall, I can see somebody looking around like they don't know where they're supposed to be. And immediately I'll help them. But it would be so helpful if we just had some people that were helping doing that, whether it's some interns from the university or some chronologically gifted people from the Covenant Village area. It would be wonderful.
Chronologically gifted, well said. I am one of them. Oh gosh.
Oh.
That was good. I've heard it spoken many times, but that was pretty good.
Good. And so one of the other things
go ahead.
The county, the mayors in the county, we're all kind of functioning on a disbursement of money that doesn't make sense to us. So in Turlock, if you pay your property tax, out of $1, 50 cents immediately goes to the county for social services or for services, county services. And then we get 11 cents in Turlock. And with our tax, our sales tax, we get out of 7.65%, we get 1%. So
repeat that 1%.
1% of the 7.65 that is taxed on to taxable items, we get 1%.
And the rest of that goes back to the county or to the state?
County and state. So the majority is going to county and state, but your property tax is going primarily to county. And so we're trying to, do a little bit of a fair shake here, because we're not seeing a lot of exchanges, partnerships. There's not much going on in the way of county partnerships. Most of the amenities, if you will, for people are in Modesto, and understandably so. That's where you have your jail. That's where you have your hospitals for the most part. I mean, we do have our own, but the drug rehab and mental health. All those things are there, and so it makes sense. But we don't have those types of things. So we are saying, hey, all the smaller municipalities are saying, listen, we want to come back to the table. We want a better percentage of this. It does. We need to be providing for our people. If they're paying these bills, why shouldn't we get a bigger chunk of it? Since it is our city.
Now on the property tax, you get 2% or 1% of that as well.
So they get, out of $1, they're getting 50 cents, and we're getting 11. But there's 30% in there, roughly, that goes to schools and parks.
And the rest goes back. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Crazy. Okay.
So 50% or 50 cents is theirs, 11 cents is ours. So you're looking at 61 cents. Then there's another 30, and I think state picks up a teeny bit of that too. But I mean, proportionally, that makes no sense that we aren't getting the majority of it, even if it's the difference of 40 and 41 cents. I mean, it doesn't. I'm not understanding why any city would have negotiated for this.
That's interesting. And so the negotiating,
that is a dialogue.
So there was some interesting negotiating going on there. Let's just say that, huh?
It was 20 years ago they made this commitment, and I wasn't there. So
okay.
Now we're saying let's renegotiate. This isn't fair or equitable in most of the municipalities' sake.
And when would you be able to? Does that negotiating go on a regular basis, or is there a time when you can negotiate that kind of information or that kind of cost?
To my understanding, there was no reopening, and that's just me. I'm coming new to the game here, but my understanding is there was no reopening it unless like all of us cities come together and make that decision. I think it was just one of those contracts that worked out well for the county. And hey, I'm not disputing that you do what's best for yourself, but now I've got to argue for Turlock, so I'll do that.
Yes.
Well, you're getting 11 cents out of $1 on the property tax revenue. It would seem like if Turlock's providing the ambulatory contracts with the AMR or whoever's providing that service, you have your first responders through the fire department, you have your own police department, your own parks, your own water, your own sewer, that the county's really not providing the city many services down there. The city's taking care of that, and the property tax should go to fund those services.
I would agree.
I don't see where the county justifies taking that money from you or from Ceres or Modesto, Oakdale for that matter. I don't know why all the cities wouldn't want to approach the Board of Supervisors jointly and flip that. Do 50 cents to you guys, 11 cents to the county, and then you could take care of some of those unfunded liabilities. That would add up very quickly.
I agree.
So would you have like a convention of some sort? I'm just trying to picture this. All the cities getting together to possibly do this. I mean,
my guess is that we'll probably all agree to have one specific lawyer who's well versed in it represent us all for the sake of the municipalities, and then they'll go and negotiate with the county.
Okay.
Well, in the meantime, all of our listeners and us, we need to be supportive of you and the other mayors in the region, and be on our Board of Supervisors.
Exactly.
I think it's our duty to help you do your duty.
Awesome. I'd appreciate it, and I know that most of the mayors I would agree with me as well. We don't want to rob them, and we do get charged anyway for a lot of the stuff. If we book a prisoner, it costs us $189 every person that gets booked in there. So we're still getting charged. If they're housing them, they're going to charge us anyway. So I'm just looking at it like, okay, I don't need to take it. It doesn't even have to be flipped where we get the 50 and they get 11. I'm fine to give them 20. I don't want it to be unfair, but I want us to have the majority. We should have the higher number.
It should definitely be more equitable.
Well, at 50 cents of every dollar going to the county for services such as mental health, probation, jail, county fire, all these other types of services, why is there a $189 fee for Turlock City to book someone into jail? I mean, we're kind of already covering that. So
yeah, agreed.
I'm here if you need, get me on Facebook, get me wherever you need to get me. I'll be the first one down at the County Board of Supervisors office, standing with you and the other mayors in this county to make a change on that. That's ridiculous.
Well,
and I appreciate that. I'm learning every day. I'm trying to just keep absorbing more information so I can make the best plea possible for us, because it's probably going to be a one-time only kind of concept. So I want to make sure I do the right thing and get every bit of information before I go crazy.
Excellent. And I am sure that, excuse me, I'm sure that your time, you have to use it wisely, because there's only so many hours in a day. So using that time wisely is very important. Let me think here. Anything else, John? Do you have anything else you would like to talk to Amy about?
I mean, we're just in a real sorry state of affairs, and I consider myself well versed in the issues around the area and around the state, and I had no idea the county was doing you like they're doing you and the other mayors, and hey, all our listeners need to be on board with holding all of our representatives accountable. This mayor's telling us that she has to pay the majority of her property tax into the county, and then they're charging her $189 to do what they're already charging in the property tax to do. We need to be steadfast in going to those meetings with our county board of supervisors and assisting all our mayors in changing the way business is done so that we can take care of our unfunded liabilities. We can take care of our fire, our police, our parks, our roads.
John, you're going to be the first person I get a hold of then.
Yes.
But give us time to get us all rallied together and form a plan so that we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, so to speak.
Yes. An issue that this issue, I guess, just really pushed our buttons right away. Thank you for bringing it up.
Mine too.
Yeah, I'm sure yours as well. Of course.
When I'm looking at all these budgetary issues, I'm just thinking, okay, it's not going to solve everything because we have to live within our means anyway, but it would sure help.
Well, a lot of us are so quick to blame the private or the public sector employee, wanting more retirement, more benefits, higher take-home pay. We don't get to see this side of the we don't get to see this side of the equation where, the money that we as property owners and property taxpayers see going out isn't actually going to where we were told it's going.
Right.
So it makes your job harder. People get upset with you, but it's not your fault as a mayor. And we need to hold the county accountable to that.
For me, the biggest issue right now is the homeless and the criminal activities. Not necessarily the homeless causing them, but nonetheless, this problem's huge in each community. And it is a state and county problem. It's not in the business of a city to be trying to provide housing. We're here to do that which the citizen can't do, which is police, fire, water. And so I feel like this is where the county and the state should be jumping in and truly helping us.
Yes. That issue has just boggles my mind because so many officials I've talked to, and they don't have the answers. I've racked my mind to figure out a way to handle it, my little tiny mind, but I can't even come up with an answer. Some of these people just don't want to be helped.
No.
And anyway, that's a whole nother issue, and I don't know that we really should have time to get into that right now, Amy. But
not
but
tonight. We could do a whole show on the homeless situation in our towns and Stanislaus.
We certainly could. Maybe we could get all the mayors on at the same time. We can all talk about it.
You know, we've opened up some things where we probably need to do a roundtable like that. Maybe, you know, we let our listeners know what exactly is going on. I mean, I have to thank you, Amy, because I had no idea that was the case with our property tax money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm learning every day. I'm learning these things and going, what the heck? But I would suggest to you that the next person who's really well versed on it would be Mayor Richard O'Brien in Riverbank.
Okay, that'd be great.
Tap into him. He's really, you know, he's been a mayor longer. Obviously, he's got more understanding of what's going on. But you know, everybody's at the table trying to figure out what's the best and fair and equitable thing to do. We all have to work within the county, and we totally appreciate that. There's some great people here, and I don't think any of us were on, you know, in positions of making decisions for everybody 20 years ago. So it's like, okay, I don't want to blame anybody, but let's just talk about equity. Let's talk about parity. Let's figure out how we can help the cities and the county still survive.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Maybe we got our programmer right on that right now. I see him making notes feverishly as we speak. So, Amy, I think we've just about covered everything we want to cover tonight. So, I would like to thank you for being on today and opening our eyes to so many issues. An issue that we hold dear to our heart, taxes, and I appreciate it. Can anybody else think of anything else you want to say to talk to Amy?
No. I just appreciate you giving us your time, educating us on some topics, and you know, if we can be of assistance to you, we're all about helping where we can
and disseminating information. That's what we're about. So,
great. And as we get closer with the water, I'll definitely need your help. Figuring out how to get that information and educate people and make the decision what they want. I'm not going to tell people what they want. I want them to tell me what they want.
Excellent.
Amen.
A good mayor. I'm glad to have you on,
Thank
Amy.
you so much.
And Miss Mayor, Mrs. Mayor. What do I say? I'm sorry.
Amy's all I need to be.
Amy, thank you. Thank you very much. We will talk to you again soon.
You bet.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you, Amy, for coming on and taking time out of her schedule to talk to us. If you or anybody that you know of is interested in sponsoring our show, you can head over to jeffersonlibertyradio.com or email us at sponsors@jeffersonlibertyradio.com. We would love to hear from you and get your email questions or comments. You can email us at feedback@jeffersonlibertyradio.com or via our website again at jeffersonlibertyradio.com. Don't forget to subscribe to us in iTunes, especially if you're listening to us on your website. Subscribe in iTunes or your podcast player of choice so you can get it downloaded directly to your phone or device wherever you're at. Leave us a 5-star rating in those places, on those podcast players, iTunes, etc. We would really appreciate it, and it actually does help our ratings in those places. You can find Jefferson Liberty Radio on Facebook, Twitter. You can also find our episodes on Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, and even some alternative media such as BitChute. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Jefferson Liberty Radio, and we'll catch you next time.